I once heard a quote about how an easy and comfortable life can lead you to an early grave. I couldn't find it, so here's my interpretation. A life without struggle is the quietest kind of dying. Comfort wraps itself around you like a warm blanket, but beneath it your spirit forgets how to wake. Ease is the silent thief. It steals your strength, dulls your edge, and leaves you hollow long before the grave. We were not shaped for stillness, but sharpened by resistance. It is the climb, not the resting, that keeps us alive. The same trail that offers little challenge to an enduro bike can become a true test of skill and resolve on an adventure bike. The path hasn't changed, only the comfort has. Ease makes it simple, but challenge makes it meaningful. Redefining adventure, it's not always about Sherpas and snowstorms. When most people hear the word adventure, their mind leaps straight to the dramatic stuff. Frostbitten explorers scaling the Himalayas, gap-year students finding themselves in the African bush, or Bear Grylls drinking something you definitely shouldn't. But for me, adventure doesn't need plane tickets, survival rations, or therapy afterwards. It just needs one simple ingredient, doing something you don't normally do. And since the arrival of my Africa twin, I've been doing an awful lot of not normal. This bike has dragged me up and down the country, from the windswept signpost at John O'Groats all the way to Land's End. And I'm fairly sure it enjoyed it as much as I did. Why an adventure bike? Because sanity matters. Why did I choose an adventure bike? Well, I used to own a cute little enduro bike, light as a feather, fun as hell, and about as comfortable as sitting on a washing machine during the spin cycle. I've been shaken more times than James Bond's martini. Without a van or trailer, I had no choice but to ride it everywhere, which is fine if everywhere means 5 miles down the road, but if you fancied, say, a trip further afield, you'd be shaking to bits by the time you got there. The noise, the rattling, the spine realignment, it was all part of the experience. Unless I could beg, borrow or steal a life, I was stuck on the same old local trails, which got boring faster than you can say, why didn't I just buy a bigger bike? Enter the adventure bike. Suddenly I could go places, proper places. Last year alone, I rode to the Peak District, tackled the Great Western Trail, took on the Suffolk 270, and even popped over to the Cotswolds to visit Jeremy Clarkson's farm. Because who doesn't like overpriced milk and a sarcastic farmer, right? Aren't they too big and heavy? The national anthem of excuses. Ah, yes, the old chestnut. The number one excuse for not trying an adventure bike off-road. They're too big, too heavy, too much like hard work. And sure, if you're expecting to fling it around like a motocross bike, you're in for a rude awakening. But let's be honest, we're trail riders, not Red Bull-sponsored adrenaline junkies. Our aim is to enjoy the scenery, not leave bits of ourselves scattered across it. And before anyone gets on their high horse about proper trail bikes, let's face it, most of the bikes you see on the trails aren't actually trail bikes. They're enduro bikes, trial bikes, motocross bikes, or supermotos. So the whole, it's not a proper trail bike argument, about as useful as an ashtray on a motorbike. Big bikes, big fun, and big humility. Plenty of people write off adventure bikes without ever swinging a leg over one. Why? Well, usually it comes down to one of three things. Their legs are too short, Their arms are too weak, or their pride is too fragile. Yes, they can be hard work, but that's the point. That's what makes them so much fun. Small bikes will politely let you dab your foot and recover. An adventure bike, on the other hand, will tear your leg clean off, beat you with it, and then mock you as you hit the deck. I watched a video recently where the rider said, "You have to be very precise." Understatement of the century. These bikes don't tolerate half measures. Riding one off-road is like trying to waltz with a grizzly bear. Technique matters a lot. It's a cocktail of skills, trail riding, trials balance, and enduro stubbornness, all blended together. And the fun doesn't stop with your skills. Even the bike setup has to be spot on. Small bikes let you get away with murder. An adventure bike, 1 psi too soft, 1 click off on suspension, and it's punished you like you've insulted its mother. Even the weight of a fuel tank can change how the bike behaves. 1 minute you're cruising, the next minute you're wondering if you're steering a motorbike or captaining an oil tanker. The beauty of compromise. At the end of the day, an adventure bike is exactly what it says on the tin. A bike designed for adventure, not for racing, cruising, or pretending you're the next Dakar champion. It's a compromise, a beautiful, brilliant, occasionally stubborn compromise. And the compromise doesn't stop with the bike. I run 80/20 tyres, which basically means good enough for most things, terrible at everything else. But despite that, out of the hundreds of lanes I've explored, I can count on one hand the number of times I've actually had to turn back. In conclusion, get on, hold on, and stop whining. So yes, adventure bikes are big. Yes, they're heavy. And yes, they'll happily humble you the moment you get cocky. But that's the charm. Because at the end of the day, you don't need to fly halfway around the world or risk frostbite to find adventure. All you need is a big bike, a bit of nerve, and a willingness to let it teach you a lesson or two along the way. And trust me, it will. The funny thing about big, heavy adventure bikes is that they're great for building friendships. Mostly because at some point you're going to need 2 or 3 of those friends to help pick the damn thing up. Nothing bonds grown adults faster than collectively trying to lift 250 kilograms of regret out of a muddy ditch. An example of a weekend on an adventure bike. Friday, get up late, load the bike, cruise up the M1 a few junctions past the M6, and leave the motorway and hit the fast, twisty back roads to Matlock. Then there's a mixture of back roads and green roads to Buxton. Saturday, nice road ride along the Cat and Fiddle, over to Snake Pass, then hit the green roads until we get to Castleton. Then Winnats Pass, then back on the green roads back to Buxton. Sunday, green roads and back roads to Matlock, then back home to the motorway, then home.